oh, I'm so in awe of you because you're a celebrity, and I'm kind of feeding your ego right now, and oh my goodness, you're so amazing.
Welcome to the Grouching Response Podcast.
Hey, welcome back to Pixel Response here. It's late February.
It's weird because I almost expected you to say welcome back to the monastery there.
That I enjoyed those times. Like, you're kind of trash talking the early days of the podcast, gongs and everything. I thought that was a cool idea.
It wasn't necessarily the gong or the early days. It's that I was having this conversation with some other podcasters, specifically the Van Chat guys.
Okay.
And I think everybody that podcast is in agreement that, like, your first 10 episodes, roughly, you probably just don't ever want to hear again because they're the worst.
Yeah.
And then I was telling them for us, it was maybe like the first 30, but whatever, that's okay. Because I was using that headset before I got my mic.
Right. There was definitely a long time where I was using a crappy free headset. And I'm not even convinced this one has produced especially greater audio, but it's way more comfortable.
Right.
So, like, I don't know if it was, like, detectable or not, but there's probably a point where it's like, oh, yeah, see, like, 90 minutes into this one, Nathan gets angrier. And it's probably partially because there's this pressure on his ears and his head hurts. So he's angry, but not at, Ben Affleck. He's just angry at his head because it hurts.
Okay, so what's the excuse for Argo?
Argo is just not a good movie.
Right.
But, back then, maybe I was complaining about some other Ben Affleck film. And I don't know. Sorry, actually, yeah, let's not throw Affleck under the bus. Jeremy Renner, perhaps, in Legacy. I don't know. Something.
I don't know. I mean, if you're listening to this, you could go back and listen.
Yeah,
Tell
go
us.
back to the archives. We got a extensive collection of thoughts and opinions, and some of them are still pretty great. Others may be a little tarnished, but whatever. I still have to send you a couple episodes, but I have yet to do that.
I mean,
They're sitting there.
That's housekeeping stuff we can talk about after. But
Okay.
Yeah, listening to those old ones, man, Jesus. Like the way we were recording some of the equipment, there was an echo, like you would echo in my headset, and it would be picked up by my mic because one of the wiring things was loose or something.
That's too bad. Like, that's just poor, I guess. But what are you gonna do?
I don't know. Like, listening to them now, I think it's a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on the right track.
Yeah, it was our first rodeo, and now we're seasoned cowboys. And we ride. I don't know.
And we're more efficient than ever.
Yeah.
Getting podcasts out like an hour after they're recorded if we have to crunch.
That's some impressive business. Like, other major podcasts don't manage that because they care about, editing out stuff like this where we're talking and navel gazing a lot.
Yeah.
But this is important stuff. It's behind the scenes. It's like a documentary about the podcast.
Right.
In the podcast. It's interwoven. It's new media. It's future. Let's talk about the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, how much further in the opposite direction of new media can you go?
I know.
A bunch of old people with old ideologies deciding what's good when they're totally fucking wrong. But
yeah, old people still have opinions, and they're on television though, so they matter more than we do so far. Like, for now.
Okay, so our main movie guy, I should say. I'm not discounting you.
Well, I just talk about them into this microphone. I don't usually come up with enough thoughts to write about them.
And then you drop the mic.
I don't actually drop my mic.
If you could, I think you would.
I guess, yeah. If it was not my mic and I was guesting on a stage somewhere, I might throw a mic down with some disdain, depending on the point I just made. But okay. Yes, Matt wrote up some predictions as to who would win in the major categories.
The big six. Basically the Best Supporting and Best Actress, Best Supporting and Best Actor, Best Film, and Best Director.
Right. No screenplay stuff, which I would consider pretty big, but it's okay.
I agree.
It was not my article, so it's fine.
Right. I'm just going to go ahead and maybe say his predictions. Like, I have it up here.
Okay.
We'll just see how good he did, maybe, if that's all right with you. Think that's good? We can do that?
I guess so. I might take contention with some stuff like assertions that Argo was in any way good, or if Jessica Chastain was interesting as a character. But
Fair enough, but we'll cross those bridges once we get to them, I guess.
I kind of just did. But okay, let's go.
Okay, so best supporting actress. I'm starting from the bottom here. I mean, you had Amy Adams for The Master, Sally Field for Lincoln, Anne Hathaway for Les Miserables, Helen Hunt for The Sessions, and Jackie Weaver for Silver Linings Playbook.
Yep.
He predicted Anne Hathaway would win. He says, this is another lock. Might as well give her the statuette now. Who I'd vote for? He's okay. So I should preface this by saying he also put like who he thinks will win and who he would like to win.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty good. So.
And he said who I'd vote for, Sally Field. Field handled Mary Todd Lincoln's debilitating mental health impeccably. Not many actresses could do the same. I haven't seen Lincoln. I don't care about Lincoln. Do you agree?
It's kind of a weird, petty thing, but I definitely was nagged by this as I was watching. I was just like, I think she's too old. And then I looked it up, and it's like, yeah, in fact, Sally Field is like way older than Mary Todd Lincoln ever was, and had to kind of really fight for the part. And she, that's like so unfair to say. It's just like, I'm sorry, miss, you're just too old. You cannot be an actress anymore. That's awful, and I don't believe that. But it was something it was impacting my perception of the performance. The scene they chose to showcase like her acting abilities in the thing was kind of her most mental breakdown type scene, and that was a good scene to choose. I kind of like more the stuff where she's kind of being the polite socialite, like the first lady, and having to kind of put a nice face on stuff at this kind of formal gathering. That's quieter. She was fine, but I was more impressed with Anne Hathaway in like a smaller amount of time.
So you agree with the Academy on this one?
I kind of did. I was just like, sure. Yeah, no, like she was easily the most impressive thing about that movie, and I didn't really like that movie. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to keep a tally here. I'm just going to put A for Academy and then M for Matt.
Okay.
And, but like, wait.
What?
I'm just thinking how I could even do this. Okay, so you agree with the Academy. So I'm giving the Academy 1 mark. I mean, you're going to be the one deciding like your opinions on this stuff because I haven't watched half of these movies, and quite frankly, I don't care about a lot of movies that are Oscar nominated ever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so basically, if you agree with the Academy, I'm going to put 1 under the Academy. If you agree with Matt, I'm going to put 1 under Matt.
Why am I the judge of Matt's validity? Okay.
No, you're not the judge of his validity. I'm just saying who you agree with.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're going to see at the end if you agree more with Matt or if you agree more with the Academy this year so far. Okay, so Best Supporting Actor, we got Alan Arkin for Argo. Wow, that's a lot of A's. Robert De Niro for Silver Linings Playbook. Philip Seymour Hoffman for The Master. Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln. And Christoph Waltz for Django Unchained. Who will win? He predicted Tommy Lee Jones. This is probably the closest category with 3 past winners, Tommy Lee Jones, Waltz, and De Niro in the running for the prize. But Tommy's portrayal of radical abolitionist Thaddeus Stevens seems like the safe Academy pick. Who he would vote for? Christoph Waltz. He took home the award for Inglourious Bastards 3 years ago, and he was just as good, if not better, in Django. So he actually matched up what he wanted is what happened. So Christoph Waltz took it. What are your opinions?
Well, first of all, I have like a weird like technicality thing on 3 past winners. Like Hoffman has a Best Actor statue, and Alan Arkin actually has a Supporting Actor one for Little Miss Sunshine, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 5, but whatever. Everyone in this category was a former winner, which was kind of weird. I did think Tommy Lee Jones would take it, but that was only because that's what everyone was saying. So I wasn't like, oh yeah, he deserves it. Like essentially he played kind of old, quiet Tommy Lee Jones. That was kind of my issue with a few of these, was just like Alan Arkin played old Alan Arkin. As near as I could tell from like clips I've seen, Robert De Niro played old Robert De Niro. Like it wasn't like there was much character to any of these things. Except I was thinking through it like yesterday. Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, like Lancaster Dodd, was actually like not like Hoffman usually is, even though it does play off of kind of his weird charisma stuff sometimes. It was at least an interesting thing. You think more of the character than the actor. Waltz was kind of doing a similar likable, roguish guy as he did in Inglorious, but it's still fun to watch. So I was totally happy with him winning, but I'm trying to think. I didn't have like a strong favorite in this category at all. So I guess sure, Christoph Waltz, why not? Like I was happy when that happened. So I agree with Matt, I guess.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
You technically agree with both of them.
I agree with both because they also apparently went with that, but whatever. I don't know how you're going to tally that.
I'm going to put one under both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christoph
Okay.
Waltz, why not? He's a likable dude. He's cool.
Sure.
He's got really great sideburns in that movie too, so that's probably helped put him over the top.
Sure. Okay.
Simplifications.
Okay.
It's probably his hair. That's why.
Best Actress. We got Jessica Chastain for Zero Dark 30, Jennifer Lawrence, Silver Lining Playbook, Emmanuel Riva,
Probably Riva.
okay, for Amour.
Mm-hmm.
Dude that I can't say the name.
Oh yeah, dude, I looked up how to pronounce this. Quavenzane.
Wallace.
We'll go with that.
All right. Beasts of the Southern Wild and Naomi Watts for The Impossible. Who will win? Jennifer Lawrence. It's been Jennifer's year. She hit it big with The Hunger Games and Silver Linings Playbook, plus a strong award season so far, and it all adds up to some golden hardware for Katniss. Who I'd vote for? Jessica Chastain. I was blown away by her performance as Mia, the CIA operative obsessed with catching Osama bin Laden, but it's close between her and Dude Wallace. But
Yeah.
But really only because I'd love to see a 9-year-old on the Oscar stage.
Okay.
I don't agree with him personally.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I like Jessica Chastain in other films. Like I thought she was good in Tree of Life and that one with Michael Shannon, Take Shelter. That was a good one. But I don't know. I just didn't like the character very much, and even so, like that's not necessarily a reason because you can have unlikable characters. I just found her kind of annoying though. I just didn't enjoy watching most of that movie, which might not be on her or not. That last scene was really good. Complete transparency though, that's the only performance I've seen of these 5.
Okay.
I've only seen Jessica Chastain, so I don't know. I don't have enough information. Jennifer Lawrence is cool in other movies, but again, that doesn't really matter.
I'm not going to put a mark down for either then.
Yeah, Nathan's unqualified to answer this question.
In fact, I'm going to put a 0.
Okay.
There you go. 0. Now it looks like 10, but I know what it means.
Okay.
Best Actor. Bradley Cooper, Silver Linings Playbook, Daniel Day-Lewis for Lincoln, Hugh Jackman, Les Miserables, Joaquin Phoenix, I know it's Joaquin, The Master, Denzel Washington, Flight. Who will win? Daniel Day-Lewis. There's no doubt about this one. Who I'd vote for? Daniel Day-Lewis. I definitely agree with the Academy on this one. He was incredible in Lincoln. Can't think of anyone else who would be able to play one of America's most beloved presidents with such grace and power.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen 4 of these 5. Yeah, I'd probably agree with, Daniel Day-Lewis. I liked Joaquin Phoenix and Denzel Washington in their respective movies, but Daniel Day-Lewis was just like fantastic. Like it's just like this is fun. Listen to this dude talk and tell stories, and that's just he kind of carried that whole movie. Not that it was a bad movie, but it was like extra sweet because he was there. So
right,
yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis. So 1 for both, I guess. Again.
Yep. Okay, Best Director. Michael Haneke. That's Haneke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Amour. Ben Zeitlin or whatever for Beasts of the Southern Wild. Ang Lee, Life of Pi. Spielberg, Lincoln. David O. Russell, Silver Linings Playbook. Who will win? With the absence of Ben Affleck, Spielberg is a lock for Best Director. I'd argue, and I think many would agree, that the nominations for this category were completely boned by the Academy, but I digress. Who'd I vote for? Ang Lee. It's very difficult to direct an actor alone in a lifeboat in front of a green screen. Throw a tiger, either real or CGI, in the mix, and you have a pretty incredible challenge. I just hope the Academy recognizes that. So he was right.
That's yeah. Well, like his wish became true because no one, as near as I could tell, like no one was ready for Ang Lee to win that, and I was like baffled because Spielberg has been kind of the talk for a while. Like it's just like, well, he's probably gonna win it because I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And like, there were a lot of people being like, why wasn't Ben Affleck nominated? I mean, Argo was so fucking awesome. Why isn't he on the list? Like in that tone too, it was weird. In fact, in the actual Oscar ceremony, that basically came up a couple times. Seth MacFarlane joked about it. It's just like, apparently the movie directed itself. I don't know. But yeah, I would have been fine with Spielberg winning, I guess, but I was pretty happy with Ang Lee winning, so I'm gonna go with Matt again. You know, like that was a happier surprise than just like, hey, I got another one of these. It's like, well, I guess Ang Lee has one too,
Yeah.
but I guess mainly because for like a brief moment before they announced Best Picture, I was like, oh sweet, maybe the Academy is gonna go on its own, forge its own path, and just be like, you know what? Shut up, all you other awards. Life of Pi was sweet. We're going to give it to this thing. But then they ended up towing the line in the end anyway. But for a brief moment, there was a glimmer of hope that a good movie would win Best Picture this year. It was that close.
But Best Picture this year, it was between Amour, Argo, Beasts of the Southern Wild, Django Unchained, Les Miserables, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, Zero Dark 30. Now, get your knife ready, Nathan.
Okay.
Because who won was Argo.
Argo won.
Who will win? Argo. About a month ago, Lincoln seemed like a lock for Best Picture until Argo started sweeping awards, shows left, right, and center. Now the momentum is totally in Argo's favor, and the general consensus is that it'll take home the Golden Statuette. Who I'd vote for, Beasts of the Southern Wild, might not be the most exciting, thrilling, or emotional films nominated, but Beast was able to do some incredible things on a shoestring budget. Its beautiful visuals, impeccable acting, and magical story stretch the medium of film and make for the most underrated film of the year. That being said, I wouldn't be mad if Argo, Life of Pi, or Django won either.
Okay.
So he was okay with Argo winning.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear what Nathan Rohr has to say.
Oh, I've only seen 6 of the 9 films, I will say. So I don't know if Amour, Beasts of the Southern Wild, or Silver Linings Playbook is up there. Yeah, at this point, yeah, the momentum was totally there, so I had to just kind of hang my head and go like, oh, all right. When it happened, like it was just like, yep, that was going to happen. It was slightly tempered, maybe a little bit, by me realizing like, oh, weird, this is a weird backdoor way for George Clooney to get an Oscar because he produced it, so he was up there.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't like that guy, but all right.
Yeah.
What? I totally just was like talking over the speech to Brittany about how that was not great when it happened. So I don't know what they really said, but yeah, I don't know. That movie just, it's probably like, it's too early to tell or whatever, but it just feels to me like this will be kind of one of those movies that like 10, 20 years from now, people will be like, hey, like, wait, what won in 2012? What was it? And like people will have to look it up because they won't really remember. And it's just like, oh,
yeah, they're going to be like Argo. Well,
really?
I mean, Life of Pi and Zero Dark 30, I remembered.
Yeah, I bought those. No, I don't know.
And probably Lincoln for the Americans.
It just doesn't seem like it'll have much staying power. I'm kind of confused, like, why it's a story people are even really talking about. Because, like, I mean, we've gone over it 100 times, but, like, an unremarkable political thing happened in the 70s. It involved movies, though, so we kind of ginned up some extra stuff and put some movie dust on it, and then everyone thought it was awesome. But it was such a, like, who cares?
Well,
like,
Ben Affleck is a dreamboat.
Well,
the things I would do to that man. Oh.
Okay.
That's not necessarily true, but
all right. I don't know. I was so, The Town, that was okay. That was an okay movie a couple years ago.
Yeah.
You know, like it was its own original kind of story. It wasn't like, hey, real events, let's water those down a bit and put some thriller business in it. I don't know. I continue and will forever be really confused why that happened. And like people I wouldn't have expected to have seen it or like it were just like, yeah, no, Argo was great. Like video game critics love Argo. What? Why? I don't know. Why did Jeff Gerstmann watch that movie? He doesn't watch any movie.
Yeah.
What's going on?
He doesn't watch any movie that doesn't have the words Fast and Furious somewhere in there.
Not usually, yeah. Like Sin and City, maybe. Like that'll maybe get somebody in there, but
did he watch that one?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like one of the few examples I can pull up. Like bad action movies, goofy comedies, that's kind of his wheelhouse. And it's just like, yo, I'm gonna check out this Ben Affleck directed political drama.
See, the thing is with all the momentum and like the appraisals it's getting, it will be remembered though. Like without that, probably not. It's weird because going back to our old podcast, there was a conversation we were having where you were like, well, like, which movie do you think is better, Inception or this other one? I can't even remember now.
Okay.
And I'm just like, well, Inception, because that's the one we'll be talking about in like 2 years. The other one we'll forget. And it's totally still true.
Well, 2 years or 10 years?
Even 10 years. Inception
Right.
just did so much for people at the time or whatever. Like, maybe it was just the time it came out or something. But everybody
was it
was
Inception
talking.
or was it the Inception trailer though, Paul?
It doesn't matter. The fact
What do people really
the fact is people will remember the name Inception. It doesn't matter how they remember it.
All right.
Anyways,
I don't hate that movie, but I mean Tron Legacy. No, I don't know what we were talking
I
about.
think it was either Tron. No, it couldn't have been. Tron Legacy is a pretty big. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Basically, Academy won out with Matt for your agreements or whatever, 4-3.
Okay.
But to be fair, Matt also was either on the nose with his prediction that this will win,
Yeah.
and then like you would agree with it, so that was an automatic whatever. And then even the ones where he's like, I wish this would win, he won quite a few of those.
Oh wait, did I really say what I hoped would have won Best Picture?
No.
Okay, I guess probably Lincoln out of those chosen ones.
Yeah, I assumed that. So.
Okay. So you already tabulated all that.
Well, I assumed that one because you loved Lincoln. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we want to go over any of the other, I mean, quote unquote smaller ones, even though some of them are still pretty big, like screenplays?
The screenplay stuff, Tarantino has another Oscar now. He said some stuff about characters coming alive thanks to the actors that play them and whatnot.
I'm going to go ahead and say I don't think I've ever seen a Tarantino film that I would say that's Oscar quality.
I don't know what Oscar quality means.
I also haven't seen Django Unchained.
Okay. I'm not sure what the chat is referring to with their most recent comment, but sorry. I don't know. I think he's definitely done some stuff for movie writing that, come on,
Yeah,
people say
the same
fuck
movie
God.
over and over. Fantastic.
He doesn't do it that as overtly as some other people.
That is very true. There are some people that just like have literally made the same movie over and over. So
like, I mean, not to harp on it or whatever, but hey, Wes Anderson, maybe go on vacation for a while, come up with some ideas that aren't quirky or whimsical in any way. Just try it. Just try to do that. I was so angry about it this morning. Like, I was just thinking back on like how many people went head over heels for that movie. It's just like it's the same movie but with kids. I don't like. I mean, it's well shot. It's got a lot of people in it you like, but it's I don't know. It has nothing new to say. I don't understand. Like unless it's your first one, like I never saw Rushmore. I never saw Darjeeling Unlimited. Like that's fine, but is it Darjeeling Unlimited or Darjeeling Limited? I think it's Darjeeling Limited. I apologize, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Fantastic Mr. Fox, all of it. It's like this. I don't know. You can basically reduce it to the same qualities. Like it's just the same beats every single time. I guess he must.
Well, yeah. Fantastic Mr. Fox was a book too. So
yeah, but like he'll just kind of mold it into like the way he does stuff. Like it's just like, now it's like this. Now it's quirky / whimsical / funny. Like it's funny. They're fun, but I don't know. It's just it's the same. Like. I do really admire it when a director kind of can really wildly veer from different genres, different like feels to the movies. Like you can't really even tell necessarily that it's theirs. It's like, oh, weird. I didn't think that. Soderbergh's really good at it, but I don't know. The Wes Anderson thing, I just don't understand anymore. Tarantino. I mean, it's going to be probably violent. It's going to have revenge in it at this point. That's gotten
like
tight.
Main character is gonna be wronged, he will kill the dude at the end.
Like that definitely has gotten to a point where it's just like, all right, can you try different approach? Like maybe your hero fails, like maybe just try that once. Like that would be kind of weird, if
that would be awesome.
These obstacles were too big, he couldn't do it. That can happen. Like, why does it have to become fantasy at some point? Like, that was honestly, like, a bit of a weird turn for Django for me. Like, I was having a really good time for, like, 90 minutes, and then it just exploded and became a conventional Quentin Tarantino movie again. Like, it was just like, oh, I've been restraining, I've been holding back so long, I just want to shoot everybody, and then it just went crazy. And it's just like, oh, okay. He killed all the bad guys, and then the house exploded, and then he said a one-liner or something and rode off, and it was just like, oh, I thought he was going to do something different. I don't know why I did, because his name was in the movie, on the movie and everything. But, yeah, it just did the same stuff.
I just want to bring up one more category quickly.
All right. Wait.
Animated feature.
Oh, yeah.
We got Brave, Frickin' Weenie, Paranorman, the Pirates, Band of Misfits, and Wreck-It Ralph. Brave won. I probably agree. Although I like Paranorman a lot.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely kind of Paranorman was what I was hoping for, just because I liked what it had to say at the end. I don't know. But, I mean, Brave, it was like, we've talked about it where it's like, this is good to have a movie about mothers and daughters and that kind of stuff, so that's fine. But I still couldn't shake the feeling like it's just like, is it just because Pixar is like the easiest vote?
Yeah, totally.
Pixar, they make good stuff. And you're just like, really? Did you watch the other movies, or did you just kind of go, I like those other Pixars. That was good. I don't know. That's cynical, but I was like a little skeptical about the decision-making process on that one. I did find it amusing that there was like a sound category that tied, which never happens.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of like, what? That's so weird. Like Skyfall and Zero Dark 30, I believe.
Zero Dark 30, yeah.
Which was just kind of a strange thing to see. Adele is great.
Yes, I love her.
Like, I don't know, just her like personality, like her talking and stuff on the red carpet and during her speech or whatever, is just like, it's great. I don't know. I've never really heard her speak about anything, and it was kind of neat to see. And I like that song. It's actually a good James Bond song. It's kind of dumb, but that's a James Bond song.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Kind of like Snake Eater.
Kind of like Snake Eater.
Where it's just like dumb.
Yeah. Or Goldfinger, which they had Shirley Bassey sing as just like a James Bond memorial thing.
Okay.
It did make me think, though, how hard would it really be to like phone up the actors who've played James Bond over the years? They're all still alive, to my knowledge, and just get them on stage. Just be like, hey, all these dudes are here. They're James Bond. Crazy, right? Anyway, James Bond.
Okay,
later.
Going back to the theme song, like the songs for the movies for James Bond,
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? Let's name the stuff you need. You need the like diva-esque singer that can just
do you need that? Because
you can hold a sustained note.
Well, View to a Kill and Live and Let Die are pretty good James Bond songs.
Live and Let Die is really good. Live and Let Die is the exception, not the rule.
Okay, but View to a Kill is another one.
View to a Kill was okay.
It's Duran Duran, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I like the song, but
I mean, you need to say the name of the movie multiple times if possible.
Say that quite a bit. That is that's part of the chorus or something.
I'm gonna say it's a plus if you have trumpets, trombones, and saxophones.
Okay.
Because it just gives that big band feel, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need a part that's just music at some point, where it's like the breakdown.
And then like stuff's exploding or there's guns.
Like the sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You just need like a musical interlude part where there's explosions and gunshots and all that dumb shit that goes with the intros.
Well, I mean, it's kind of great because like every James Bond movie you watch, there's kind of just a music video break in it. It's just like, hey, we made a music video. Do you want to watch it? It's like 3 minutes long. And then they just kind of have weird stuff flying around. I forget what the motif really was in this one. Is guns and there's probably some sky at some point.
Yeah.
Glass shattering, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I really don't have a list of criteria other than it's nice when it's catchy, I guess. Just a poppy type business.
Oh, Paperman 1 animated short. That's cool. I like that.
That's the only one of the ones I saw, so I can't really...
Yeah, like what's this Maggie Simpson in The Longest Daycare?
I've definitely been seeing that get promoted a lot on like Facebook and stuff recently. I like The Simpsons generally, but I never bothered watching that. I think you can probably find it on the internet somewhere. Just like, hey, watch our thing. It was nominated.
Okay, so let's wrap up our Oscar talk here quickly.
Whoa, wait. You were saying like other minor categories. There was kind of a weird pseudo-scandalous thing that happened, though it's debatable. Like the special effects thing. The company behind Life of Pi, Rhythm and Hues, they were actually hit by like a whole bunch of layoffs and stuff and had to declare bankruptcy like pretty recently. They won, and then as part of the dude's speech, which I mean, I gotta place some of the blame on dude who won. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. I'm, part of the problem, maybe, I don't know. But he did kind of stack the front of his speech with like a lot of list of thanking stuff, which whatever, more on that later perhaps. But as a result, he didn't have enough time to kind of put in the little political message thing at the end, where it's just kind of like, hey, this company is really great and everything, but they got shut down. If you want to help or whatever, like, this is an ongoing issue. And then Jaws music got really loud, and he got cut off, and the mic got like went down and everything. So it did seem kind of like, oh man, the movie industry just kind of silenced or censored these underappreciated artists and just kind of shoved them aside.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure that was like completely intentional, but it does look super bad as kind of a thing, because this has been like part of a visual effects protest that's been going on about how.
Did you like the visual effects in Life of Pi? Make sure
Yeah.
to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. That sort of thing.
Well, like, help promote it. I don't know if that's where he was going. It's like, hey, check it out. We got a Kickstarter. Indiegogo. We're gonna try to
Join our mailing list.
stay in business. I don't think it was going to be that shill-y, but it was probably going to be kind of like, hey, we're trying to highlight a serious problem that's happening with like these overworked, underpaid people who kind of are pretty important in a lot of ways. Like your movie would look kind of crappy if we weren't here.
Give us karma on Reddit.
Yeah.
Follow us
I
on
don't know.
YouTube.
Follow our YouTube channel, Rhythm and Hughes. Okay.
Subscribe and like below. That would be amazing.
It would be that actually would be kind of great if someone was very overtly like new media-ish, just on the mic, like just like, hey, hashtag Oscars 2013, give me a shout. I'll reply to you.
If Mega 64 ever makes a movie that's Oscar worthy, 100%, the minute they get on there, they're gonna be like, okay, so make sure you like and subscribe below, and they'll point down, and then that'll be on their YouTube channel.
Oh, I bet, yeah. There's going to be, like, Garrett running up with a GoPro or something, filming the speech as it's being broadcast, and then you'll get a behind-the-scenes...
With I'll Be There For You from Friends.
Oh, like Plato.
As they're running around.
Yeah, there would be... I would love that so much if something like that happened. Or why isn't there some... Is there any kind of equivalent, like, web series awards or anything?
There is, yes.
Do those matter though, or is it
like what are they called? The Webbies or something really dumb? Do they matter? No, they don't.
Okay.
The Guild has won a few times. Felicia Day has won a few times for that. I think Lauren even got like a best blog of the year at some point for her blog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, they're not important, but it's kind of. It would be nice if they were.
It's internet awareness, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I mean. The Oscars, I'm not sure how many people were crowding around the radio or whatever 80 years ago. So, maybe it's one of those things where just with time comes prestige. So the 85th Webbies will actually be like a huge event. We just don't know yet because we're not there yet.
Right. And 2020, Mega 64, calling it right now.
Oh, that's maybe a little soon, but that'd be sweet.
7 years?
7 years. They
could make a movie in a year.
They should make a film. Like, that much is just like, you're already making like these 7-8 minute shorts every now and then. You have the equipment, You
have the know-how.
They're kind of making like a series every so often, like releasing episodes of a show. So if you just kind of cut together a 90-minute thing, that'd be sweet.
That would be sweet. Then you would get that theme song at the beginning.
Yeah. I don't know. That has to be in their brains, or maybe it's a thing they're actually looking into, but they have a fan base. There's movies out there that have less going for them in a lot of ways.
I think if there was one person, if there was one person in Mega 64 that would be against the idea of doing like a movie that was, or like even going to the Oscars or something, who do you think it would be?
Against the idea?
Yeah, where they're just like, no, dude, I don't want to do that.
Oh,
there was one of them.
Like it's kind of weird that like the gut reaction for some reason. I apologies for beforehand. Sean?
Yeah, Sean, totally.
Okay. Like, I mean, Derek loves filmmaking. Rocco's excited about a lot of stuff,
and Garrett's like
totally down.
Garrett's 100% into everything they do.
Whereas, like, it's not even like problematic, but like Sean's a committed family man, so maybe putting in the time to do that would just be kind of like taxing in a way he wouldn't be into. I don't know why. apologies to Sean Chatfield. He's cool, but I don't know. He'd seem like he'd be the most worn out by the whole thing.
I've been watching the Storecast.
Okay.
We gotta do something like that, dude.
What is that?
Garrett's Storecast? It's a podcast he does where he takes his iPhone and like he gets Skype calls or whatever on the line as well, but he's basically just recording him and whoever he's with at the time going into a store and talking about the store. It's a podcast sort of thing.
This sounds pretty fantastic.
Yeah, so he's like, hey caller, do you have any, like, how's it going, blah blah blah. He's like, do you have any stories about Sears, any memories about Sears? They're like walking around in Sears talking, and then they're just like, see, I like these pants because you can put your DS here and stuff like
So it's just like walk around the store via like Garrett walking you through it digitally.
Yes.
And that sounds pretty fantastic. He also does a weekly live stream, I guess, where he plays video games.
Yes.
That I'm curious about too, because it's just like Garrett's a cool guy. He's for some reason he's the only one that also has like a job on the side. So he's hardest working Mega 64 member, perhaps.
And he is the one that does all the props and stuff.
Yeah.
And like meticulous time.
Yeah, Metal Gear Rising stuff.
Yeah.
Stupid. How I guess he made some replica swords and was actually selling, or like not gifting them to Konami people, which was posting on Twitter and stuff when that game came out. So yeah, dude's dedicated in a cool way.
So XG Hunter X on YouTube, I think. Garrett Hunter on Twitter. I mean, like if you're listening to us and you don't know who they are, you have your priorities mixed up.
I guess, yeah.
I'm just gonna say that. I'm gonna say we have maybe better opinions on video games specifically.
I don't know if that's fair to say.
Not opinions, but more critical, definitely. So, like, if you want critiques, they're not the guys to go to. But if you want a fun time, that's who you go to.
If you want a fun time, for sure. I'm trying to think through like how valuable like what our criteria are or whatever. Like super relative, but okay.
If you want a video for 45 minutes or so of a dude walking around with his friend in Toys R Us and talking about the toys and memories they had in Toys R Us, he's the guy you gotta follow.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to go back to the Oscars.
Okay. I'm trying to talk about like, yeah.
I know you're trying to talk. You're trying to talk your way out. I just want to go back to the Oscars quickly because I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I need to know how McFarlane did.
Okay. I am not a fan of Family Guy,
right,
or American Dad,
right,
or The Cleveland Show,
or McFarlane.
Or Ted.
Right.
Yeah, just basically Seth MacFarlane in general is not someone I find very funny or interesting.
Right.
That like, so I was really dreading his hosting stuff. And to be fair, I was I was kind of impressed by some of the gags the lengths he went to for dumb stuff that I actually thought was pretty funny. Like William Shatner kind of opened the whole thing, which was weird. So I was kind of into that. He kind of does that thing where he's just kind of like, hey, I like other things. Like I like movies, I like shows. So let's just put that in here. Let's just make a reference to a thing.
Right.
And it's obvious, it's easy. But when you have this like rare opportunity to make like a Sound of Music joke that involves Christopher Plummer, that's, why not do it? There was a whole gag where he kind of introduces the Van Trapp family singers, and if you've seen the film, I vaguely remember this, but they choose to escape from Austria and they don't actually enter. Is this any of this ringing a bell?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So they do the whole intro thing with the spotlight on the door. Then a dude dressed up like a Nazi runs in and says he's gone, and it was like, ha ha ha, what a dumb thing. You'd have to have seen it, I guess, for it to have any joke value, which is kind of what is probably not great about it.
Did he at all do the Stewie voice?
No, which
Good.
I was 100% impressed by, because I was like so convinced he would just be like, hey, I'm doing Peter Griffin's voice. I do
hey,
voice.
I'm Peter Griffin, or whatever. Yeah.
At no point did he do that. There was a bit with Ted, but that was more because Ted was co-presenting an award with like Mark Wahlberg. That's a thing they do before. Like it's like, hey, here's Shrek. He's going to present an award or something. Like that's happened before.
Yeah.
So that was fine. That was inoffensive. That made sense. I don't really remember what the jokes Ted said were. Like, actually, okay, I guess that was kind of the weirdest thing. There was definitely a weirdly mean-spirited tone to a lot of the jokes, which, I mean, they're celebrities, they can take it, but it was really kind of weird how it would just be like, specifically there was one that I was like genuinely kind of felt awkward after, because it was like, all right, now is the point in the show where we get Penelope Cruz or Salma Hayek or Aviar Bardem or somebody to come out here. We all act polite and pretend to know what they're saying, and they present something. Yay! And then he walks off screen. Essentially just being like, these people don't speak English as well as we do. Let's make fun of them.
Basically, like, immigrants.
Basically, yeah. Like, it's just
Yeah.
like Mexicans or something. Like, essentially that kind of offhanded joke. And then Salma Hayek walks out and kind of awkwardly says like a whole thing. And I couldn't help but feel like maybe she's, really put off by like just having been pointed out like, hey, you don't speak English like us. And then she kind of is, she didn't like really trip over her words much or anything, but I was just kind of like, oh, that's just mean. Like, she didn't do anything. And now it's just like, this is a joke at this person's expense. Everybody look at them and judge them later, and then walks off stage. And then that happens. It was just weird. Like, there was stuff like that throughout. Like, it was like, here's Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana. They're big stars now, but they're probably going to be on Priceline.com in 50 years. Bye. And then walks off set.
Like, were they trying to go for what Ricky Gervais did?
I don't know. Like, he's kind of grilling the celebrities.
But, like, Ricky Gervais can do it because, I mean, that dude's funny.
That and, like, it's kind of part of his whole thing is, like, deconstructing celebrity. Like, why this is ridiculous. Like, celebrity is a ridiculous thing. Like, why does everyone care what we have to say? We're just.
But then you get Seth MacFarlane up there who wrote a bunch of stupid cartoons and does a bunch of stupid fucking voices and does a movie with a teddy bear.
Right, and lives on like a mountain of money anyway. So
for doing nothing at all.
Yeah, like for doing the thing. Like, he speaks into a microphone for a couple hours, and an ocean of money appears, and then he does it again.
Yeah.
And it's all super referential. Like, it's just like probably like half of the TED screenplay is basically like Flash Gordon was a funny movie, just there. But
yeah, dude's making the chugga change.
Why do we keep having to try and like? All right, okay. Sorry, Chugga. I don't know. It's not me. It's this guy. Points to the right where Paul is.
It was both of us.
At PAX it was, yeah. We invented.
And even Sean.
Yeah, I know. We
Which was really weird.
So amused by this idea that, I don't know, the YouTube money is so, like, that well runs deep or something, but I don't know.
To be fair, we don't personally know him. We do not know at all what his financial situation is.
We don't.
So I'm just saying that right now because I know, like, I don't want there to be any legal thing at some point where it's like, you're not supposed to divulge information. It's like, no, we don't know.
We don't have any information. All we have is, like, he was at, like, that arcade plan for a PSP Go or something and putting tons of tokens into this machine.
Right. But at the same time, they're tokens. So,
yeah.
like, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Just Chugga with a big bag of coins playing for a PSP was just amusing to everybody. And then I got relayed the story, and then, yeah, it just snowballs. It's weird.
I think that's just a thing that happens on road trips when you're stuck with
some inside jokes.
When you're stuck with the same people day in and day out for like a full weekend minimum. Right.
Not to mention the drive there and back. You're just kind of sitting there talking, and stuff comes up. Yeah.
Right. When you're stuck in a confined space specifically, then yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think you and I just have that problem because we talk too much.
We enjoy the gabbing and bantering. So,
right.
Yes.
Okay, so Oscars, MacFarlane did an okay job, even though he's kind of pointless.
All things considered, I was like, oh, all right, that was fine. That was okay.
You know what will never win any Oscars?
What?
A little movie I watched called VHS.
Okay. So you didn't like it, huh?
See, the thing is, I didn't not like it.
Okay.
I didn't particularly like it either, though.
Okay.
Like, it's a solid 6 out of 10, maybe, for me.
Yeah, that's probably where I landed, despite going into it with a pretty high degree of enthusiasm due to some of the people involved, and the core conceit sounded cool.
The core conceit is cool but they didn't. I mean, for one of them, like you said before, and I think
Yeah.
on the podcast, they just kind of don't even follow that cool conceit
I know.
really to the right tune at all, because there's like a Skype call
Right.
on
Yeah.
a VHS tape.
I guess brief description, this is a found footage horror movie, but it's also an anthology, like 10 directors or something put together this thing, and then they try to kind of link it into an overarching story.
Yeah.
And that overarching story component just kind of breaks the whole thing, because it's like, hey, we broke into this dude's house and he's got all these crazy videotapes.
Yeah,
But then,
so we're going to watch them.
yeah, let's watch them. And then
Cool.
you pop videotape. Like, that's fine. But then when the videotapes are stuff that ought not ever be on a videotape, because, you know, no one would ever bother transferring a Skype call or a digital, and like, you know, hey, we shot this on our cell phones because we're 20-something kids and we're going camping. Why would you put that on a videotape? Like, it was just like, that bothered me every time they would go back to the, like, the, you know, narrative device, like the interstitial stuff, that I just kind of got annoyed with the movie as it went on. I really like some of the early segments though, like some of them just overall. Like it has that anthology movie problem where there's like 8 movies and like 3
There's 5.
Good.
VHS stands for 5 horror stories.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think. I probably like 2 of them. 2 of the 5.
Yes, I completely agree with you.
Which, like, vaguely speaking, which ones were your go-to?
No, you know what? No, vaguely here.
Well, I mean, it's not spoiling it, but like
that's what I'm trying to get at. Maybe, like, I don't know if you can really spoil it, because it's one of those movies where it's like, it's the journey. Like, you're watching these creepy tapes and creepy things are happening. Isn't it creepy? It's not like the dude killed her in the end.
Hey, just one with this creepy girl, and she's like, messes up these dudes, and you know, it's not, doesn't make much sense without having seen it. But I like that one quite a bit.
All right, so a dude on Twitter, I'm just gonna give him the quick shout out here because he was talking to me right after I watched it. Cypher_peon. His name's Mario on there, I guess. That's probably his real name.
Okay.
And after I watched it, he was like, tell me what you thought about it, blah, blah, blah. He asked me to rank the segments from best to worst. So I'm just going to quickly say, out of straight out creepiness, for me, it was the video call in the apartment. So the Skype call.
Oh, okay.
The succubus.
Okay.
The traveling couple, haunted house, and then the invisible man, in that order.
Yeah. The one with like the distortion man that doesn't appear on video.
That was the worst.
It
That
was
so bad.
It was the worst for a number of reasons. Like, I like bad digital distortion. Like, it looks cool as
Agreed.
a thing. Like, it's kind of like the same reasons I actually thought Kane and Lynch 2 was kind of neat.
I like Kane and Lynch too.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's short. It's really short. So as a $60 proposition, like, that's kind of nutty.
It's
But-
unremarkable as a shooter too.
Yeah, like the campaign stuff, it's more just like the visual ideas and like some of the hard hitting, like, I don't know, like the guns feel crazy. It feels frantic in a way. I don't know. But anyway, tangential, that game wasn't that bad. Yeah, the digital distortion man thing with like the camping, specifically the acting in it was terrible. Like
Yeah.
there were some line reads that were just like so bad that it was just like, this is so bad. Like there was the main girl is kind of just like trying to be creepy and she's like, I'm gonna kill you. Or something. Like she has a line like that. And
No,
like,
her line was, "You're all gonna die out here."
yeah.
And then they're like,
but I think
"What?"
she
And
says,
then it cuts
we're all gonna
away.
fucking die out here or something. Like there was some cursing in it that made it sound stupider, and it
Right.
just ruined it. Like it was just like that was awful. That was so bad. And that's like the third or fourth story. So at that point, you're kind of like, there's already been better ones, so this one stands out as being bad. I think the succubus one is probably my top one.
The succubus one is good because of how. Okay, with any, I'm gonna go ahead and say with the haunted house thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna reiterate some of the points I made to the dude because we had a conversation for maybe like half an hour or whatever over Twitter after I watched it.
Yeah.
And I said that I thought the witch/haunted house one was scary up until like the supernatural stuff started happening.
Yeah.
And
At that point, I was more just kind of like, oh, low budget CG effects that they're trying to kind of mask and do cool things with. I applaud the effort, but it's just not scary.
well, like I'm just kind of even reading here. It's almost like notes. I'm just reading my Twitter. They tried for that haunted house moment of like running through a house with weird shit happening in each room, but failed because there's a classic horror misstep they did where once you show the scary thing, it's no longer scary. You got to let the person terrify themselves, which is what the succubus one did perfectly, because there were so many long shots of him well, first of all, they're in the bathroom and they're just kind of like peeking out, and you're just thinking, oh, something's going to happen, and then like nothing really bad happens. I mean, nothing jumps out at you that whole time in that movie, in that segment, I should say, rather. But I don't know, it was just so weird and horrifying, and yeah, like, I don't know, women, scary things.
Yeah, it definitely did kind of like that. It was such long shots or whatever. It definitely just kind of had this like creepy, perverse feel about it. Like it was like that kind of, oh, what is it? What is that word? That voyeuristic.
Voyeuristic, yeah.
Like where you're just kind of like, oh, I ought not be here with these guys. Like these dudes are out for trouble. This is weird. And then like you recognize that something kind of is off about something that's going on, but the stuff that they're planning to do anyway is off too. So you kind of just don't want anything to happen. And then it kind of goes in a way you weren't really like. It's like this is like it was like, hey, getting some rapey vibes. This is.
I was gonna say all of VHS had a very misogynistic overtone with like the woman coming out on top somehow, or being like I hesitate to say killer, but like the one that, I don't know. It's hard to.
Actually, yeah, I guess so. Like over the course of all of them, there's definitely a like women are dangerous, or like playing off of like maybe castration fear, like that kind of stuff, where it's just like, oh, these women are gonna do bad things. I'm uncomfortable, and that is kind of a weird, easy note to play, maybe. But I don't know. Like I'm not really sure how much like overarching direction there was to the directors. Like one of them was Ty West, who I like because of House of the Devil.
Right.
He did the Vacationing Couple one, which I generally was okay with, but it was like such a weird, different movie. It was just like, this is like a twisty little thriller thing that happens.
The Vacationing Couple had one of the scariest moments I've seen in a long time, and it's the long pan where the camera's looking at the dude when he's sleeping. And then it turns and it's looking at her too, so you realize there's a third person.
Yeah, no, that was pretty great.
Yeah,
like that. Like I was like, oh, it's her shooting. Wait, what's happening? Like, it was there was a good little mystery thing to that, but and I kind of liked how non-eventful parts of it were. Like there was a part where they're just kind of climbing, and it's just, hey, did he fall? I don't know. Like this is like out of. Like he's not in the frame, like he's just out of like sight. Like it's kind of shitty in a way that real bad vacation footage is.
Right.
Which was like almost like
it's perfect though. It's pitch perfect to what they were trying to do with the main conceit that these are found footage.
Yeah, like unlike some where it's just like, come on, why would that dude film that? Why would they shoot it that way? Like there's so many logic problems. This one felt just bad enough to where it was like almost plausible. Kind of. I was kind of impressed by that one, but wasn't like super on edge the whole time or anything. So I don't know. I'm trying to think what my second one would have been then. What was the other one?
What do you mean?
There was Creepy Killer Guy.
Yep.
Like Distortion Man, Haunted House, Succubus, Vacationing Couple. What's the other one? Just the in between stuff.
Like The Apartment, the video wall.
The Apartment one. Right, that one.
I do like that one until. Okay, so that one also, like, I sound so pretentious in these tweets, but in that one, I'm just like, they try to do the classic real life monsters are the scariest turn, which is a shame because since they did the supernatural scare so good to begin it with, only to make it feel more grounded in reality. But like, that one has a weird thing going on where it has to deal with aliens. So that's just kind of a weird thing they did in that one period.
Would that be too goofy if they went that way? You're kind of saying
what, aliens?
Yeah.
No, they did go that way. That's what.
Don't they kind of bring it back in, and it's just like, no, he was just there's just a killer.
No, because like the aliens put the stuff in the girls or whatever, and he was helping them.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it is silly.
What happens, right?
It is straight up like aliens are impregnating Earth people, and then at some point a dude has to help them take it out so they can grow into like hybrids or something.
Yeah, I guess that one was only really hurt by it was the one that deviated from the videotape thing the most. So that's what I was thinking when I was watching it.
Right.
Like it was just like if this was just like, hey, this is a weird collection of creepy files on the dark net or something.
Yeah. I
That
love it when you try to do your deep voice.
I love the dark net. It's like I don't know. There's rich potential there for dumb stuff. But
Fear.com
fear.com.
in stores now.
I've never seen it, but
Really? I
No.
own it.
Is it good?
No.
Okay. Is it good bad though? Like is it worth seeing bad?
I mean,
Like the Ring
the
book.
core conceit for it was the reason why I watched it, where it's
Okay.
basically like this dude's kidnapping people, and the way these people are dying is kind of like Saw in a way. Like this
Mhm.
was before Saw, obviously, but the more hits people, like the more people watched online, the more intense like the torture would be till they died.
Right.
So it kind of
That sounds kind of like that movie Untraceable with
Yes.
Diane Lane. Yeah.
yes.
We're just like the killer gets more sadistic the more people watch, but people are so morbidly curious they can't stop.
Or like Heavy Rain.
Yes,
Kind
like
of.
Heavy Rain,
Ugh.
which is Untraceable is the movie I compare Heavy Rain to, like a lot because it's just like it's actually this, so it's not like high art at all. It is like a grungy bad serial killer movie, but because it's a video game, 9 out of 10 or whatever. It's just what's happening.
Okay.
David Cage.
So
But
let's get
yeah.
off VHS quickly though.
Okay.
What would I'm gonna say it's mediocre. It's not the worst thing you could watch, but it's definitely not something.
It's
Like,
not
if-
very long.
It's not very long, but if you don't have like a lot of time and you want to watch a movie, you could
Mhm.
probably do better.
Yeah, I because I was curious about one of the directors that kind of pushed me over the edge. I'm curious about SVHS too for the same reason. Jason Eisner did one of them, but yeah, like it as a thing, it kind of trips up in some ways. But
What it reminded me a lot of is, okay, I don't know how into Nine Inch Nails you are.
not very.
Okay,
I'm
so
actually mainly familiar with Trent Reznor's film stuff, so like scores.
okay, so Nine Inch Nails, they do a lot of albums that they call halos, or he does albums under Nine Inch Nails that he calls halos. So like Halo 1 would be an EP, Halo 2 is a full like LP, like a full normal CD. Then like there'd be a remix EP or whatever with like 5 tracks on it. That would be Halo 3 sort of thing. You know what I mean? They would all have names though.
Yeah.
The one called Halo 5 is called Broken. It is about, well, depending what version you get, it's 6 songs. I think there's 2 secret ones depending, or maybe 3 depending which version you get and where.
Okay.
Whatever. They're all very much in the hard rock industrial part of Reznor's career, whatever, the early 90s, like very heavy guitar riffs and drums and all that sort of thing.
Mhm.
To accompany it, he did a movie, like it's a musical film in this very regard, kind of where each song had a weird, creepy music video that like a dude was watching on a VHS tape in between killing dudes.
Okay.
So like this conceit has been done before, and I'm gonna argue he did it better, Trent Reznor, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you have digital technologies,
Mm-hmm.
you won't get that right feel. Like all he had back then was the stuff that makes it look gritty and gross these days.
Yeah, like the way the movie opened had me convinced they were gonna straight up shoot on VHS tape, which had me really excited because it was like this looks so bad in like the perfect way, and then digital stuff. So if Trent Reznor sticks to his conceit, then
Right.
yeah.
Now I'm just trying to remember how this went, but I'm pretty sure before this like musical film or whatever, this the Broken movie is what people call it, came out. It was leaked, and like a VHS of it was leaked and just kind of left somewhere to the point where authorities had to be called in because it was really graphic, like showing a dude get sliced up to Nine Inch Nails music and stuff.
Oh, like it was even more like unrated, morbid compared to the actual release version.
No, it was like nobody knew what this was. It was a tape with no label, and it showed bad stuff happening to music.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I would recommend anybody that is into this whole idea of like found footage horror of creepy things happening to check that out. You can get it, and There's an unofficial DVD release of it where people try to clean it up a little bit so it's still watchable, which is good because VHS degrades over time to the
Yeah.
point where it's very unwatchable. So there is a unofficial DVD disc image that is actually distributed on the Pirate Bay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get it there. And as far as I know, there's no real plans to release it officially. So Trent Reznor is all for it.
Okay.
Like, I mean, not to go off on a crazy thing about piracy, but apparently went after somebody told him that his album was $30 in Australia. He said, steal it, steal everything I do. Don't let those corporate bastards get any more of like their money or something like that from me.
Oh, okay.
So he's very much of the opinion that I do stuff for people to listen to. Like he's had bad times with record companies though. So he's a little broken that way. But yeah, Broken movie, check that out. It's roughly 20 minutes long.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a full feature, but okay.
No.
Music videos.
Yeah, it's really
Weird.
good.
Okay.
Especially if you like Nine Inch Nails. If you don't, then it's just kind of like noise probably with bad things happening, which you might like too.
Yeah, it's its own weird aesthetic thing. I don't know. I'm checking what Nine Inch Nails I have. I think I might have one of those Halo ones, but
What was the album name?
I'm looking at what I have. I have to pause now because I accidentally clicked play. There we go. Oh no, I'm seeing. I have Ghosts.
Ghost
I have
1 to 4. That's Halo 26.
Year 2 or something remixed.
Year 0 remixed.
Year 0 remixed.
That's Halo 25. Released
Okay.
in 2007 ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So I have some of those.
For you, maybe check out Halo 27, the last one, The Slip. It's pretty good.
Guess what? I have the slip.
Okay. How about Halo
99999 1 million?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You could check out Halo 14, The Fragile. That's arguably his best work.
I do not have that, so
it's really good. It's double disc. But anyways,
speaking of Nine Inch Nails, guess who just got back together?
Who?
They're going on tour again.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I thought you were gonna kind of lead up to that, but okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of pissing off some friends of mine because they're like, "What? I thought they were done. I went to Chicago to see you because I thought it was the last time." But
right.
It's kind of mixed emotions because they're also happy because that show was really good and they want to see another one.
Yeah,
but they also feel slightly ripped off because it's just like, what? You can't just do that. You're playing with my emotions, Trent Reznor. But
I mean,
yeah,
it's for money.
Yeah,
just straight up. Like, dude was like, I need money. So
you're like, it's not because he loves the thrill of the show or anything.
Probably that too. Like,
okay.
I don't know if you've ever seen concert footage. They put on a really, really good show.
I have not. So
like with LEDs and videos, it's a
I
whole
love these things. I love LEDs.
It's a whole multimedia experience. Kind of like I would say Muse is like baby Nine Inch Nails for what they try to do, and Muse puts on a really good show as well.
Okay, that sounds neat. Like I don't have much connection to any of this, but
and it's kind of neat because like they're more digital stuff. They will have like the full screen in front of them, like a kind of transparent, like opaque screen that they'll play video on while they're playing. With like, it's like it's corny or whatever, but then there's another part where the music kind of dies down. Then when it's coming back up, there's like the video smashes like a screen or whatever, like a piece of glass.
Okay.
So it looks like it's breaking, and then like that's when the curtain comes up, and they keep going. But then they also like for their grittier stuff, they just have a wall of lights that keep flickering to the music. Just stuff like that too. That looks like you're just in like this dingy, crappy cave or something with a bunch of like painter's lights or something. So they really know how to play the visual experience to their music.
Cool.
Which makes it that much more impactful, definitely. But
well, so chances to see that again will happen soon.
Yeah, 2013 to 2014. I mean, it's kind of the thing with me is I could never say they broke up, mainly because Nine Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. So like unless he was ripped apart.
Right. It's like Trent Reznor still exists and he's still interested in music, so Nine Inch Nails kind of is still happening.
And he just has to call up like 4 friends basically that know all their songs and go on tour, and that's all he has to do. So
okay. So, but like, was the fear like he's just not into it anymore? You know,
The thing is, he was getting more into the not the trailers, the like movie stuff, and
well, like Social Network and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
honestly,
Yeah.
he was probably making better money for less work doing that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think more than anything, he was just trying to make more of a name for himself than just being Nine Inch Nails. He wanted to be Trent Reznor
Okay.
at this point
It worked
because
for me.
and
Like
yeah, because at a point like he's no
like I
longer,
got home from Social Network and was like, that was amazing, and I bought that soundtrack right away.
and like
It's
you
really
and
good.
I, right? We're like mid-20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're still somewhat full of angst, maybe. Like we could probably do some angsty stuff if we wanted to.
Yeah. Okay.
And like 20 years, dude. Like after we
There's
have
gonna be.
money, like we're in good relationships, we like everything's really great.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't feel that hatred anymore.
But there'll be a new generation
Yes.
that's feeling that, so maybe they'll get into it, and then it'll be classics.
I like a lot of songs he does. He's put on like concerts or whatever where it's just him and a piano because he's actually a classically trained pianist.
Oh, okay.
So like for Hurricane Katrina, he put on like he was one of the guys that in that concert or whatever, the benefit for Katrina victims.
Mm-hmm.
And he did 2 of his songs with just like vocals and piano and just stuff like that. He could sell out an auditorium or whatever just playing grand piano because that dude could play really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think Nine Inch Nails is the moneymaker at this point. The last thing he did was Black Ops 2. He did some music for.
Oh, okay. I was like, is this like? I mean, you just said Halos 1 through 3 or something. So does he have his own other thing that's just called Black Ops since it's a secret album? But no, you're talking about the video game Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Okay.
Yeah,
what did he do for that?
Also with like, I could just keep going about this. The Black Ops thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was a while there where there was like a fake underground resistance thing going on with the release of Year Zero, where he would leave messages that were just left on like thumb drives and stuff, and they would, when decoded, lead to a website which was like a fake website for like PMCs or what else was there, like this weird like WikiLeaks type thing before WikiLeaks was big. Like it was all fake, detailing like these end of the world plans and stuff like that. And at the end, they all kind of led to this one place at this one time to meet for like the resistance or whatever. So a bunch of people went to that, and it was just like a free concert in a basement sort of thing. So like they do a lot of really crazy shit.
What year was that?
That would have been year 2007-ish. I would have just gone back to Calgary. Maybe
because I'm thinking like there was that like Halo 2 We Love Bees viral campaign thing that resulted in like, hey, welcome to XNA 5 or whatever, and it was like just a big party or something.
Yeah,
or it wasn't that. It wasn't XNA 5, but Microsoft's done weird marketing game things where you kind of decode messages and go on this weird rabbit hunt over the internet, and then it's just a promotional thing.
Right.
But yeah,
it's effective though.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting way of going about it. Mysteries on the dark. Speaking of mysteries,
ooh, yeah.
Your Walk's really interesting.
Okay, I can't talk about this with you because I don't know. Yeah,
I don't want to get too into it because I'll spoil kind of the fun or whatever. But it is like nuts and bolts or whatever. It is a puzzle horror game that just came out on iOS this past week. I had no idea it existed until like just people started talking about it in favorable lights on the internet. I was just like, what? Like that kind of nice indie surprise that can happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to say anything about it yet. So discussion after Paul's played it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a little annoyed at this idea that iOS is the only thing games come out on, because like there's more Android out there than there is iOS at this point, because Android's on fucking every phone. Like
I know. I'm increasingly convinced like that's going to be a thing that's going to happen soon. Is there just going to be a bit of a more attention paid to Android in light of like Terry Kavanagh finding success there with Super Hexagon, the Ouya's coming out, stuff like that.
Well, just
but
statistically,
as of right now,
Like,
Well, I mean, you mean number of phones, like just that?
well, because like Apple makes the iPhone. That's it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
say you have 10 in one bucket there, and it's all Apple. Then you have Samsung, you have Google, you have all these other third-party guys. Say they all make 10. You have like 50 compared to 10.
I
So
know.
just playing the number game, you automatically have more of an audience.
Right. Problem is though, like I can only imagine how stressful it is to try to account for compatibility across devices like that.
And that
Like
is the issue for sure,
that
because there's
that is
no strict guideline.
yeah, like that's specifically like Terry Kavanaugh's issue was kind of like, man, we can't get this working on I believe it was Nexus 7 or whatever, which is really popular.
Yes.
Like there was just like some hardware lag. Like it just lags in ways that they couldn't really account for. They may have fixed it since I heard about it. This was a couple weeks ago. But yeah, like that must be just kind of like a weird headache to develop for. Until there's like more of a platform standard over there, like there is a Android phone that is like really the one, and you can develop just for that one and cover your costs and be fine. Like it's going to be kind of a weird proposition. Like yeah, this game is compatible on iPhone 3GS past that, like anything past that.
Yeah.
So it's got a pretty broad range of iPhones can play it, and I guess probably iPads, iPad Mini, stuff like that. Like because it's like this secure, safe little place where developers will for sure see some money from their investment. Like it kind of makes sense that it is appealing.
Yeah.
It's too bad though, because yeah, it is increasingly annoying to just be like, dude, you should play it. Oh, I don't have that phone.
The Ouya can change that.
Yeah, like that'll be probably my first step into Android anything. Like I'm thinking more and more about I'm gonna have to at least check that out to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hope that works out. Like I mean, I saw a picture like Catch 22's running on that thing. You know, people are working on it. Stuff's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not quite there yet, but yeah.
The weird thing with Android too is one of the things I do like better about Android just straight out is that with Apple, you're stuck with iTunes or whatever and your Apple ID and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which goes directly through iTunes.
Yep, I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, since Android goes directly through Google, I basically could do anything on any computer to sync up because
Right.
internet.
Yeah.
I don't need this terrible fucking program that takes up half my hard drive.
iTunes, you mean?
Yeah, iTunes is real bad for lagging stuff down.
Maybe, yeah. I use it just because I've gotten used to it, but it's probably a bit of a hog.
Well, and because you kind of have to, unless you want to go this weird third-party way that people
Yeah.
do. But I mean,
It's one of those like, yeah, getting you trapped in an ecosystem, and because I've invested in albums and stuff on iTunes, like I kind of feel like, well, now it's not a matter of choice anymore. It's just
Right.
do I listen to this stuff I bought that is securely locked, yes or no. But
right.
it's kind of shitty, yeah. That's fair.
That's also why piracy is a thing, guys. DRM
Yeah.
and locking people in, no good, no bueno.
Yeah, stop doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who's in charge of that boat now, but you know, maybe lighten up a bit, eh? Huh?
Yeah, eh?
Yeah. Stop it. Canadian, we have opinions.
Yes, we do. Did you catch up on Community?
I saw the Halloween one, but if there's been another one since then, I have not seen that one.
So you didn't watch the Inspector Spacetime convention?
Oh, that's where that happened. I thought that was going to be the second episode, so then I was confused. But Britta mentioned Inspector Spacetime in this second one, so I was like, oh, maybe that's what that TV critic was talking about. But
Yeah.
okay, so there is a convention. How was that one?
Good, actually.
Okay. I guess yeah, the second episode did have that kind of Halloween episode legacy to live up to, which I'm gonna personally speaking, I didn't really like the zombie episode, so I wasn't like, oh man, this sucks in comparison. Like haunted houses, that's fine, but something about it is just still kind of, I don't know. Like I don't know if it's like I'm super conscious about everything now, like I'm paying extra attention because I know something's different, but I don't know. I just don't find myself chuckling as much. Maybe it's just like the references and the jokes aren't as on point. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it fair? Like,
My biggest problem is they went with like the haunted house thing and did very little with that. Instead, it was just all about relationships.
they definitely seem to be kind of hitting relationship notes harder. Like it's kind of like Like specifically, like I've been noticing the episode transitions, like they'll end on kind of like a lead in to the next one, like really overtly. Like it's just like, oh, Jeff's gonna phone his dad, and more on that later. It's just like I don't know if they did that quite the same. Like there was definitely continuity throughout the episodes, but it wasn't like you could just narrow it down to like a specific thing and then be like, that's what tied into this one. It's more just like, oh, weird, they're calling back to that. That was important apparently. It was more subtle about it maybe. But maybe I'm overlooking stuff. I don't know. I don't know. That show's good, but
It's not as good as it was.
I guess so. Although, I don't know. Like watching season 3 again, like it got real earnest at times then too.
Right.
Like it's just like, hey, so we're zany. It's just like I don't know. Season 2 was kind of restrained a bit, and I like this because it's crazy. Doing a heist film or something, but it's kind of crazy, like a little crazier than I was getting used to, but they usually make up for it with like a weird way of doing the story, like that documentary one about the pillow fight. I thought was really good. Creative media expression stuff. Like, hey, how about a video game? We'll do that.
Yeah.
Like that was probably my favorite of the last 3 episodes. All the Chang stuff, I don't know. I just got.
I don't like Chang, so whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Like I like the one where he's investigating a mystery that doesn't exist, but then when it got into he's like this evil dictator guy who like controls the school. I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah, where they felt that they needed like a villain.
Yeah.
No, like I don't know. I don't care for that at all myself.
And that's like Harmon's decisions. Like it definitely felt like, there was that stress of like this could be the last stuff, so we're gonna do our biggest, craziest stuff right now. And it's just like boom, 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 like crazy, crazy, crazy. And then now it's kind of like, well, it's not ending, so let's just kind of pull it back some, but it feels like there's still some zany stuff they're throwing in there. Like I really didn't think the Hunger Games thing was good in the first episode.
Totally.
Abed TV, like the
Muppet Babies.
We talked about those, but yeah, I don't know. Like parts of it seem to be reaching a little far. How does this one kind of make more sense? Is it a little more quiet, low key about its thing, and it's just kind of funny?
No, it deals with relationships.
3 for 3.
Very overtly. Like it focuses much more on the kind of weird, I hesitate to say love triangle, but the weird thing that's going on with Abed, Britta, and Troy.
Right, like their friendships being threatened by relationships.
Right, so it really focuses a lot on Troy and Abed's relationship, like their friendship specifically, because Abed meets up with like a new friend sort of thing at the convention.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, yeah, it focuses on that. It focuses on stuff with Annie and Jeff a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's not zany, but it still had that charm to it because like, okay, so this is weird coming from me, but the whole thing with like Pierce and what the hell is her name? The black one.
Oh, Shirley.
And Shirley was probably one of the better parts of this show, this episode.
Like this episode? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those are like 2 characters you care about the least, right?
Right. But it's just kind of weird how they incorporated them because they weren't invited with Abed and like the rest of the group or whatever. So they just end up kind of crashing in to like hang out or whatever. And it just goes in this weird direction where dudes bring them in because they're like, you represent like a lot of the demographic that we can't get a hold of at this convention. So like, we want your opinions on something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So from there, it's just kind of, I don't know. Like, do you care about spoilers? It's not. I guess it's not really spoilers. Like, they're basically asked by these guys. These guys are like, okay, we want to bring Inspector Spacetime to the U.S. market. So we're doing like a run or whatever, a viewing, and then we're gonna take opinions and that whole sort of thing. And like Pierce specifically messes around with it because his opinions are finally being heard by somebody.
Okay.
So it goes in.
He's kind of hyperbolic, or he lies, or he
doesn't lie. No, it's just that his ideas are really bad for the type of show that Inspector Spacetime is.
Oh, okay.
I mean, his ideas in the show, period, are just bad in everything. So it just kind of plays on that.
Okay, but they're a coveted market. The older set, there's a lot of them.
Well, I mean the black female, like the black females and older, like middle aged to older women, and then like the old white man sort of thing. Yeah, so
Yeah.
more
So they
than
get
anything, I
extra
think it would
sway.
probably be Shirley, because it's like, well, we probably need opinions from women,
Mhm.
from minorities, and from older people. So
Right.
Shirley fits that.
Well, I'm just saying, it's like we want some of that Tyler Perry money. So, what do you want?
That mad cash, that
Yeah.
chugga change.
That crazy amount of chugga change. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Specifically, Tyler Perry's ridiculous. I don't know Chugga Conroy's finances, but yeah. Dude likes Majora's Mask, so thumbs up over here.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think any Let's Player can make as much money as Tyler Perry can like use as toilet paper.
Oh my gosh, Tyler Perry. I don't know enough about him either, but that one movie I saw, I think told me what I need to know. It's just like, this isn't for me. Like, I can't. This was not from the ground up. None of this was catered to who I am, so I should probably just not go over there.
Right.
It won't make any sense to me at all. But yep.
You know what we don't have?
What's that?
We don't have good Netflix. So lately I have been rerouting my DNS so I can use American Netflix to watch British programming.
Cool.
Because there is more British programming on American Netflix than there is in the UK version of Netflix. Because the UK dudes do it too.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. Straight up American show I have been watching on it, My Strange Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
That in the same way that, what's that one, Intervention and Hoarders and stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm a better person. But at the same time,
because you're kind of like, well, at least I'm not as crazy as this guy.
Because I'm not like them, but then at the same time, I'm just like, but these are people.
Right.
So I have the capacity to be like that in 2 years, and then I get sad. So it's a weird back and forth we go with there. But My Strange Addiction, exactly what it sounds like. Basically, people like Intervention or Hoarders, they showcase 2 people per episode, and they just have weird addictions that, for the most part, kill them. Not in the show, but like are killing them. Like one lady is eating couch cushions.
Gross.
Another one eating rocks, which you've told me that you've seen, I guess.
I've heard a podcast discussion about this. It sounds like most of the problems they were fascinated by on the Bombcast was weird eating of things.
See, there's a lot of the weird eating things, and I can't stand that because that makes me feel really sick.
Yeah, that sounds awful. I don't know. I guess there's like a morbid curiosity yet again comes up as a thing.
A funnier one is one lady was addicted to ventriloquism, so she carried a doll around.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So,
another one was addicted to dressing up in furry suits, so she was a furry.
Mm-hmm. At some point, is this not like exploitative in?
It is 100%. That's all it is.
Honey Boo Boo type way. Yeah. Okay. Like, look at these weird freaks. They're so freaky. Anyway, tune in next week for more freaks.
At the same time, that's what Intervention and Hoarders is.
I know.
So
it's a larger problem.
Let's get off that topic quickly. I've been watching Spaced.
Oh, okay. I like that show.
Yeah.
Dude, I own that show. I love that show.
I know. It's really good. So I've been watching that.
I was trying to watch it with Brittany, but it's kind of dated in a way, a little bit. It's hard to introduce to people now.
Well, I don't know if you know, but Tim was playing Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2.
And in that whole episode, they used music from Resident Evil 2. So I was 100% in.
Yeah, and that was also the inspiration for Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Like their experiences doing that. I love the commentaries on that, too. If you have the DVDs, there's some great...
No, stuff. Netflix, remember?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just...
to the general public.
Yeah, have you never seen that before? Space?
Not all of it, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there's some good gags in there.
There's only 2 seasons of it, right?
Well, British television. So yeah, there's 2 series, and it's like 10 episodes, 12 episodes.
It's usually 6 per series.
6, yeah. It's not very long, but yeah, I definitely really enjoy those people a lot, those actors, and Edgar Wright, obviously. So kind of seeing him figure out a lot of his style is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I know it's not available on Netflix, the commentary stuff, but yeah, they have like just a whole host of like comedians and like themselves. Like there's 2 tracks. There's an original like British DVD release track from them closer to when the show came out, just
Right.
kind of talking. And then there's like a retrospective track with a bunch of guest people. Just names that I can remember. It was Kevin Smith, Patton Oswalt, that lady that wrote Juno. What is her name?
Oh, Diablo Cody.
Yeah.
That was her, right?
Yeah, that was her. And others. I can't recall the others. I was mostly like, hey, Patton Oswalt, I like that guy. But yeah, they talk about how much they enjoyed the show, and it's kind of weird because it's just like fan guests thing. I'm trying to think if Quentin Tarantino was on one. He might have been.
I could definitely see that. That seems like
Because
something he would be so into.
there was an overt reference to Pulp Fiction in one episode. And how far have you gotten in the series?
I finished the first series. I haven't bothered starting the second.
You have not yet seen the Pulp Fiction gag, so enjoy that. It's coming up.
Great.
But yeah, we're just you're Tarantino fan number 1 over here. So
I do like his his movies. They're fun. I just don't think they're quality. So
yeah,
it's okay for something to just be fun. I just fail to see how people can compare it to anything of substance.
Like it's just like, hey, this is like those old bad movies from the 70s. And it's just like, well, okay, great.
Like arguably, no, they are much better and they're funner.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's probably more. There's excuse me. There's definitely more history in the original ones, and they were doing more things at the time. But whatever.
Homage, pastiches.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. I've been watching The In-Betweeners.
Okay.
Do you know about this one at all?
No.
Sorry, my throat's been killing me today.
Okay.
In-Betweeners is a sitcom. I'm just trying to think of the best way to explain it. Think Superbad.
Okay.
Only British and a sitcom.
So it's about school kids trying to become popular, like
in a way. You got 4
maturing.
You get yeah, exactly, maturing or whatever. You got a group of 4 friends. There's like the dopey one, the one that's obsessed with sex, blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's that sort of thing.
You got McLovin, you got Evan, you got Seth.
Yes.
All right. And they're going to school.
Although since they're British, I wouldn't say any of them are particularly like the awkward Michael Cera one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different in that way. It's just really good in a way I haven't. It's a great comedy in a way that I haven't liked a comedy in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think maybe because British humor, subtlety.
They like their subtlety over there, you're saying?
They like their subtlety, but they're still really overt with a lot of stuff. It's weird, the cultural differences really comes out because like not nudity specifically, but like they all just like talk about sex, and like this is something that would obviously be shown on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say stuff about like cocks and like vages and shit like that.
Right.
And like it's just not a thing because the North American continent here is really the only place in the world where sex is bad, but blowing a dude's head off and then cutting his throat up for fun is okay.
Right.
But
that weird kind of difference, violence versus sex, yeah.
Yeah, so
normalizations. Yeah.
It's kind of a hard thing to describe, I guess, like any real show.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of those things I could see people not liking, but I don't know. I dug it, I guess. They only have the first 2 series or seasons or whatever on Netflix, and they're creating 4, like season 4 now. So I got to find 3 somewhere.
Are you really? Because I'm just looking at the IMDb for it. It looks like it only ran from 2008 to 2010.
Oh, so they canceled it then, or they stopped it?
Okay, I'm seeing 3 seasons. So yeah, there is one missing. But then there's talk of a movie, apparently.
A movie. Okay, that makes sense. I guess it makes sense though, because it's kind of like their later high school years that's taking place in. So like at the end of season 2 or series 2 or whatever, They are about to go into their final grade, their final year.
Okay.
So that would be the series 3 or whatever. And that makes sense chronologically because this all takes place over a year, if I remember correctly. Each one
Okay.
takes place over 1 year of
Mhm.
their schooling. They tried to do an American version of the In-Betweeners, but apparently it was too bland. Nobody watched it, so they canceled it, which is really good because they Americanized it, but didn't change the comedy. So it was still the weird British humor, but like with the American stereotypes. So the sex-obsessed one doesn't look like just a normal kid anymore. He has to be the fat, grotesque one because that's funny and America.
Yeah. Okay.
And just stuff like that. And like his father is a greasy redneck, and the British one, he's just kind of like still a scumbag, but not like the fat redneck dude.
Okay.
So and they didn't change
So they unsubtled everything.
about the characters specifically, but
Yeah.
everything else was still the exact same, almost line for line, to the point where one of the episodes that I actually caught the In-Betweeners that they made here in America, the pilot, I finally caught up to it in the British version. I think it's one of the last episodes in the first series, and I knew exactly everything that was going to happen, and it happened all the exact same with different kids.
Okay.
That's gross. I hate that. I don't know. I'm glad it didn't work out. The Britain can have that. America can fuck off.
Take that, MTV.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Specifically MTV, not all of America, I should say.
Yeah.
But
MTV, get out. No good.
no good.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Speaking of, no, I don't know.
yeah, well, no,
Actually,
that's all I've been
No,
doing.
dude. Speaking of the UK and BBC, I mean, I've also been I've been tapping into that American Netflix as well, and it is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I watched one episode of Doctor Who yesterday. That's kind of the new ones. So
Oh, the new Doctor or whatever.
not the newest Doctor, but since 05, like that stuff.
Okay, so not the American version
no, an American version.
or whatever. Yeah, that new version they did, or I guess not American, but that
There's
one.
no American version. There's just a
No,
very
the one that
popular
came out at like 2007-ish.
Okay.
it?
The brief timeline of this, 2005. They started up again with Christopher Eccleston. That's the one I'm watching right now.
Okay.
Where it got all super popular and hotness was David Tennant's tenure as the Doctor.
Okay.
Which was, I guess, 06 to I'm gonna guess like 09 or something. Matt Smith is the current Doctor, and that is the show that's kind of headed by Stephen Moffat.
Okay.
And it is at its peak of popularity right now. I believe it's kind of getting crazy. But I've heard that stuff's really great, but I kind of want to watch more of it to get a grander sense of it. So I'm kind of just starting not from the beginning because that's like the 1960s.
See, I think I'm gonna start from the beginning because there's only 6 episodes per season.
There's still
series
like
or whatever.
hundreds of episodes though, dude.
Yeah.
And also, I have some bad news for you because like 100 of them are gone.
Just completely, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was baffled by that because it's just like, what were you doing, BBC? Apparently there was a while where it's just like, we kind of want some more basement, so we're going to throw away these film canisters or something. And it's just like lost episodes of shows happened, and that's just so sad.
It'd be so weird if they just turned up one day. Some dude's like, "Yeah, I found these one day. They were in my basement."
Every now and then, there's active hunts now, I guess, for lost episodes, and it happens every now and then. But I can't imagine everyone is going to be accounted for. It's just like it was like pre-home video being a thing, so it's like, yeah, I don't
For
know.
anybody keeping score at home, there's
Mhm.
790 episodes. 106 are missing,
Yeah,
to be exact.
yeah. So just history. I guess briefly also, the Eighth Doctor.
Okay. I don't know anything about Doctor Who because I don't give a shit, really.
Okay.
So what's the 8th Doctor?
The dude what played Radagast in The Hobbit.
Okay.
He's coming to the expo this year, and there's like a whole Doctor Who push. Like a bunch of Torchwood people are coming too.
I have seen Torchwood.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay.
That cast essentially, like the top 3 people are coming as well. Although I'm already on board for the Comic Expo because I'm keen on a bunch of stuff that's going on there, but I don't know. I thought that was neat.
I don't know anything that's going on there except Weird Al.
Weird Al. And that's more than enough reason to get excited. So
I think so.
yeah, no, I'm going to that concert and everything. But okay, just yeah, BBC, Torchwood, all this awesomeness. Speaking of the BBC, those dudes have been doing amazing radio programming for 50 years, and I only recently discovered that they've been archiving them and putting them on the internet, and it's the greatest thing that's happened. But it's also really weird and melancholic and sad, and I'll explain why. There is a series called Desert Island Discs that began in like 1950 something, like 51 maybe. It's a while.
Mm-hmm.
They essentially just take aside, people of some import and talk to them about music and say, hey, what, if you were trapped on a desert island, what 8 pieces of music would you want there to kind of help just kind of deal with it? And they also afford them one luxury, one book, and then there's just kind of like this little back and forth banter for like half an hour pretty much. And it's so great hearing these weird kind of voices from the past, just kind of sharing stories about like their origins and how they get stuff. I like movies a lot. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of seeking out actors and stuff, most specifically, also some authors here and there and such. But there's a huge list of just people from like politics, philosophers and scientists and all sorts of people that they've been doing this with. So I kind of recommend if pretty much anybody just take a gander at the list and see if there's anyone of you find interesting. Like, oh, that name pops out at me because I think that person's great. And then maybe give it a listen because there's some great radio treasures in here. And they're basically podcasts before podcasts. It's exciting.
Well, radio was podcasts before podcasts.
I know, but I never gave a crap because it was the radio. And I don't know. I was not into that. But now that it exists in a much convenient, like such a convenient little form, I also got to give props to whoever decided to remaster them and stuff because they're
did a good job.
Yeah, like they're cleaning up stuff. Like there's a few episodes, like I listened to one with Alec Guinness where apparently the music was missing for some reason, so they kind of fixed that, patched that in. Like work is being done to make this a good digital archive. And then yeah, just the weird insights you get from like people from a very specific time in their lives talking like before like the full scope of their career was known or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff there. Like there's Douglas Adams in 1994 talking about, oh, I'm starting to work on this movie, screenplay for this movie. I hope it's probably going to come out pretty soon. That didn't come out for like another 11 years. Also, he was way up on this crazy new thing called the internet.
Yeah.
He was sure it was going to become a big deal. And I was just like, oh man, he was so right. That's amazing, Douglas Adams. Also, just Hitchhiker's Guide, insight and whatever. If you're a fan of those, that helps. Richard Dawkins is on there pre kind of his most recent success. So kind of just talking about being a snarky atheist in the mid 90s.
Yeah. So like pre-internet loving him.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Like pre-memes kind of being coined as a thing.
That's a better way to put it.
Yeah, like he's talking about like the way pop culture spreads like a weird virus and stuff and like all this business before that was codified. Like that's kind of known quantity stuff. Like he wrote whole books about that stuff. This is pre that, so it's awesome to hear that. Alec Guinness I already mentioned, but you get him like just before Star Wars became like just stupid huge. Yeah. Like it was like it's like, hey, that most recent movie you were in, I haven't seen it yet, but Star Wars, I guess it's doing pretty good, huh? And like just to hear him kind of like chuckle about how silly that movie is and like how it's like, yeah, I don't know, I guess people like it. It was fun, but whatever. And it's just like, wow, like a decade later, you would hate it because it's like typecast you forever, which sucks. But it's just so weird to hear that. Christopher Reeve talking about, being Superman and stage acting. A lot of stage acting.
Yeah.
Like Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart talking about like growing up in the theater and just kind of doing stage plays and keeping connected to that kind of live audience stuff, which is just like, oh, weird. Yeah. That's like, I mean, the stage still exists, but I don't know. I don't go to plays very often. But, talking about the differences between stage and film acting and all this stuff from dudes who would know. Yeah. Dustin Hoffman, though, probably takes the cake for like I don't know, like kind of sad in a way for me. Because like I've always looked at Dustin Hoffman as like one of the titans of screen acting in a way.
Yeah.
Like just a big, personality.
Well, he's had his time for that. Not anymore, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. Like that's kind of, it made me reflect on like, oh man, like that kind of really hasn't been a thing for a while. And like he knows his star is fading, and then to kind of hear him talk like just kind of so melancholy, like in like just this like, oh man, if Dustin Hoffman was here right now, I'd just give him a supportive hug and be like, no man, you were good, and you're still good, but man, you'll be remembered. Lenny was really great, like stuff like that. Like
Mad City.
Mad City.
I like that movie quite a bit.
I haven't actually seen Mad City.
Okay,
but
it's pretty.
It did
good.
have me kind of going through a list of stuff. It's like, why haven't I seen this Steve McQueen movie, like Papillon, about prison stuff, breaking out, whatever. Yeah, it just made me really think through Dustin Hoffman's career again. But just to hear these kind of like big stars open up and just be kind of like, no, they have like so many insecurities. Like they just have like all these weird kind of stuff in their past, family issues, all this. Like John Malkovich's brother and him fought horribly, stuff like that.
Dude, if you like stuff like that, why aren't you listening to WTF with Mark Maron?
Why? What do they talk about there?
Everything.
But who do they talk to?
Everybody. He's talked to, like, name somebody, he's probably talked to them. Probably not Werner Herzog. Not a lot of film guys, but, like, a lot of comedians. Almost, like, any comedian you could think of, a bunch of music people, a few film people. Like, he talked to Michael Keaton.
Okay.
Yeah, so, like, he has 350 episodes right now. Each one's an interview.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely of interest. Like, the reason I stumbled onto this one, we've talked about it elsewhere, but people won't hear that for a while. Coogan. I just was like, is Steve Coogan, like, does he do a podcast or something? And then this popped up as just a podcast he's been on. So I listened to that episode. And then I was just like, wait, what is this? And started looking through the list of other people and was just like, what? Arthur C. Clarke, man, he's talking about like 2001. Like, apparently the way they started collaborating was Stanley Kubrick was just like, hey, I think you're pretty cool. Do you want to work together? That's it. Like, that's no formal whatever. It's just like, hey, out of the blue, got a letter. Hey, do you want to make a movie or something? I don't know. And then what happened? 2001 happened. Changed everything. Citizen Kane of movies, 2001. See, because Citizen Kane isn't all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to? Whatever. It just keeps coming up as a thing. It's like the Citizen Kane of games. It's going to happen.
Why do I have a feeling like the podcast about podcasts is closer to than ever to being
it's
a
gonna
thing?
happen. Got it, because there's important stuff going on.
Like caustic
And
soda.
this I don't know if people just aren't reviewing stuff as just a principle on iTunes. Like, hey, if you want to review us, that would be cool too. But there's like no one listening to these archives, or there's at least no one saying how much they think it's awesome. Which I have yet to do too. I should probably do that. Just be like, hey, 5 stars, this is amazing.
That's because it's a pain in the ass to leave a review on iTunes. Everybody's on the go these days. Nobody's at their computer downloading shit anymore.
I did write a giant one on my phone once, and yeah, it was awful.
What was it for?
It was for the Giant Bombcast.
Oh, that's wasted.
Well, I gave it a 3 out of 5, Paul.
Okay. Do tell.
Yeah, it was a pretty, I would say a pretty sophisticated beat by beat breakdown of like the entirety of their podcasting career. I liked it. I actually posted it on the forums and got reasonable feedback.
Right. Okay. I have read it then.
Right. But then at some point, someone felt obligated to write a review of my review, essentially.
Amazing.
I was amused by that. It's just like, forget this guy. This podcast is sick. And it was just like, all right. I like that my review at least stood out enough to warrant someone getting pissed about it. So
yeah, and then you're just like, why don't you go back to your fucking cave and drink your Mountain Dew, you fucking loser?
Well, I didn't. I have no means of writing any of that, but yeah, no, I didn't.
That's essentially what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
People can get mad, on my behalf. Hopefully, this will start discussion.
I am mad for you.
All right. But yeah, no, I am thoroughly impressed by this podcast. Definitely has brought me into a weird perspective thing about celebrities. Like I thought I had already demystified and de-idolized a lot of people, but then like every now and then there's still someone where you're just like, oh man, I really, really respect what this guy has done. Like surely he must recognize his greatness. And then it's like, no, dude, whatever. Like that guy is really depressed or whatever. Like just that kind of humility that you get just through these interviews and stuff. Like some of the interviewers are better than others. Like the most recent one, Kirsty Young, is actually probably my favorite. Like just the way she like sort of really politely digs into some of the dirtiest laundry is really amazing.
Right.
But there's 2 other tenures. Like the original guy who did it. I've only listened to 1 or 2 of the oldest ones. But he did it for many decades, and then Sue Lawley is the other one, and she has strong episodes and a couple weird ones, like the Malkovich one. Like maybe he's just a really weird dude, but that conversation was kind of awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens, but whatever. I guess it definitely kind of helped put what we're doing as some of this stuff in a different light, where it's just like, maybe in the future, these will be even more interesting. But they're pretty good right now, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely like, I don't know, I gotta, like, we kind of had a bit of a conversation about who would we be afraid to talk to,
Yes.
and I think this kind of spurred that, and I think it's like, you know, you got to get over that because everybody's just a person with their own weird problems. So
Right.
it's not crazy at all to ask them. And then like, yeah, the Arthur C. Clarke, Stanley Kubrick thing, it also like it can never hurt to ask. Like just say, hey, what, you know, want to do something? Like just do that.
Dude, tell
Do
me
that.
about it. How do you think we've gotten most of the people we've talked to?
Because you're doing.
It's just like, hey, bro.
Stanley Kubrick did.
It's like, hey, bro. Want to talk? They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
That's fantastic. So I don't know. I found it extremely encouraging in a really weird way, and I continue to listen to them. And it's making work fly by like in a weird way. Like I was confused yesterday. I was just like, wait, I've already been here for 2 hours. How can that be true? And it's because I'd been ingesting all this amazing content.
And then do you get that weird feeling where it's like, well, I don't really want to go until I'm done this podcast. Like
a little bit.
I only have like 15 minutes left. I can do something for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I can sweep this part here. I can dust this. Yeah, it timed out pretty perfectly. Like the Dawkins one was wrapping up. And sometimes though, like like the computers thing, like they both talk about computers, but there was also like every now and then there's a thing that super dates a podcast. Like he was talking about fashion trends and how all the kids these days are wearing their caps backwards.
Oh yeah.
Like, wait, what? Oh right, 1995. Like it was just like what? Oh, because like most of the stuff he's saying is still like really relevant to right now.
Right.
But then there's like a thing or two that's just like, pull this example, and it's just like, whoa, oh, okay. You have to kind of check the date again. But I don't know. It's quite a thing.
Yeah.
That's it really. That's the highlight. Free to play games are crappy. Don't play them. That's a generalization, but the Ghostbusters game, it has 5 stars on iOS right now. It is just as bad as Tapped Out and My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Ponyville stuff. Like it traps your favorite stuff in like the grossest wrapper ever, and basically demands you play it just because it's a tab you hit to get a reward, and then you pay money anyway. It's yeah. Bleh.
See, this is why you should listen to WTF with Mark Maron.
Oh, you're saying the interviews thing?
Yeah. Episode 67, Robin Williams.
Okay.
I'm just reading the thing here. Mark's sitting down with Robin Williams for an hour. No big deal. So what do you talk about with an international comedy superstar? How about alcoholism, cocaine, divorce, joke stealing, heart surgery, fame, Richard Pryor, jealousy, and Twitter? Yeah, that should do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, cocaine? I'd talk to Robin Williams about cocaine. I want to hear that.
Okay. Like, so they're good conversations. Like
Well, I mean, do you know who Mark Maron is?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's a comedian that came up usually like he did a lot of stuff in the 90s. He was, you know, that idea of like the angry comedian who would come on stage smoking a cigarette, be yelling about politics and be funny about it though.
Okay.
That was him basically. Like he was a pretentious asshole. He was a jerk to everybody in the industry too. He was like the guy that nobody wanted to talk to and stuff. And now he's just kind of doing a podcast because his actual career isn't panning out that well in comedy. Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, obviously, with his podcast being so big, his career is doing a lot better now. It was like his last-ditch thing. He was on Air America for a while. Like, he's been doing radio-type stuff for quite a while now. He knows how to talk to people. So, I don't know. He's a very broken person. So, people just are able to open up to him. Because it's like, well, no matter what I say, I mean, this dude's fucked. So,
okay.
So yeah, there's been some quite good conversations. I'm just seeing some random other people here, like John Hamm, he's talked to, Bryan Cranston, like Carrot Top. Yeah, so 360 some episodes, you talk to quite a few people.
So you'll find some people you'll
Joe
find.
McHale.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go. Hour-long episodes usually too. But yeah. we got to do that podcast about podcasts.
Okay. I don't know if it really demands its own podcast, but it might definitely start occupying more of this time. But
A podcast about the podcast about podcasts.
yeah, and it's podcasters.
Oh
So,
man,
yeah. We should interview podcasters, and then it'll just fold in on itself.
I've kind of already done that.
Yeah, we should keep doing that. That's a bizarre, what's that thing? Snake eating the snake?
The Ouroboros.
Yeah, it's basically that. But
I was thinking
way
that
better.
too. I was thinking the word incestuous, but that's really gross.
That's a weird connotation on that. Stoker in theaters soon. I'm assuming there's incest in that. The trailers are creepy, and it's by Chan-wook Park, so get ready.
Probably.
But
I think that'll do it for this week, though.
Yeah, probably. That's the highlights. Anything else at this point would just be like, what did I do this week?
I guess you came over.
Yeah, I
Played
did
some
come over.
games.
Oh yeah, Halo 4. I played that. I don't know. You shoot stuff. It looks nice, but why? Why did you? I don't know. What do you think of it? I don't want to rain on your parade. It's your game.
Why would you rain on my parade? Since when have I ever cared if you like something or not?
I don't know. I just don't want to, bum people out if I have that power.
Oh, dude, we're like 67 episodes past that point.
Oh, okay, great.
We've been bumming people out since day one.
You're welcome.
The
Thanks
only
for
place on the internet where you can be bummed out.
Yeah.
So that I forgot to this time. I think I'm gonna start every podcast with the only place on the internet and then some random thing.
The only people on the internet expressing their opinions.
Yes.
What? That's not all right. There's whole businesses established on making people express themselves.
However, if you want to express your opinion, you can send us an email at podcast@pixel-response.com. You can go on Facebook, give us a like there, subscribe, do all that bullshit, I guess. That's facebook.com/thepixelresponse. It's kind of a little site. We're helping them out by being on there. Hopefully they'll make it someday. Twitter is pixel_response. You can talk to us on there. You can talk to me at Exposure, EXFAUXSURE. You can get Nathan at Krasnor, KRAZNOR. Listen to us on Stitcher. You know how I was saying before about how it's a pain in the ass to leave those iTunes reviews because, iTunes, Stitcher's the only way to get away from that. Well, right. I mean, it's the most efficient way. You don't have to download anything. You just download the app. Give us a favorite on there, and then every week it'll upload from our stream right into your phone when you want to listen to us. It's great. Give us the thumbs up on that.
I know you can stream podcasts on the podcast app as well, but it might be bigger files. I'm not sure what it does.
Yeah, because what Stitcher does is it takes your feed and then it actually re-encodes it.
Okay.
So it sounds a little bit worse, but when it's just audio, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Like it's not musical.
Yeah, sorry, not just audio. When it's just speech, when it's like talk radio, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's when it gets into music and stuff that it can get iffy at best or whatever. So kind of does its voodoo or whatever, and say our 70 megabyte show usually will be like maybe 10.
Right.
And that's huge for especially us here in Canada, bandwidth issues on your phone.
Yeah. I know about that firsthand now, so great. Thanks, Fido. I'll call you out.
I was going to say, I was wondering if you were going to call him out or not.
Yeah, Fido, come on, man. Why you gotta do me like that? Come on.
Come on. Anyways, we're taking calls now, too.
Oh, okay.
So you can add Pixel Response on Skype, or you can click the button on the website, pixel-response.com. Basically call that, I'm going to say, I keep trying to say, get away from saying number, because it's not a phone number, it's a user.
Click that button.
Call that account, and then it'll be like, thank you for calling, blah, blah, blah. Try to leave your stuff for under a minute. We'll play it in the show, questions, comments, whatever like that. So you can do that now. I mean, I hesitate to say because it always feels like begging, but if you want to help us out, there's a donate button on the page. We appreciate everything we get, but the way we would probably prefer, because it's less like we're asking you for money. If you're going to buy something, go on Amazon, do all your shopping sort of thing. Go through our site first. Click the little button on the side there. Make sure you don't go away from the page after you click it, by the way. Anything you spend on Amazon, we will get a percentage back. It's a way of we can stick it to the man. You can help us. Where it's just like, no, fuck you. You're going to give $2 to these guys because they're awesome. So stick it to the man. Help us out. and fuck Amazon, but click the link if you're going to do that. And as always, pixel-response.com for more from us.
Okay. And if you want to write like 3 paragraphs and give us a 3 out of 5 and explain what's working, what's not, it'd be much appreciated on iTunes. Just log in.
Definitely appreciate. I mean, we might appreciate you more because you put in time and effort.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You know, if you just want to click a star rating, I'm not saying 5, like whatever, 4. I don't want to say 2, but you know, maybe. Just give us reasons.
Would you give us a 2?
I would not give us a 2. I'd give us more than a 2.
I think we've done episodes where we deserved a 2.
Legacy episodes maybe. I don't know. Like,
oh yeah,
and stuff. Like that's not good. Like I should stop ragging on Argo. I apologize. I'm getting it out of my system. It'll be gone soon.
And it feels better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like now that it's won, it's like it's over. It's like the story's over. It wasn't the ending I wanted. But you know what? Mass Effect 3, it's basically like that.
Right.
It's basically like that.
I guess just to go on the legacy thing, pixel-response.com/podcast-episode-list. I'm going to try to keep that somewhere simpler, put a link to it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everything we've done right there.
All of it, digital archive.
Except for episode 2, because that's unrecoverable on my end unless you have.
I have it, so something will exist at some point.
And you can listen to Nathan gush about Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was his descent into his cynical self these days.
So good. But okay. Also, I suppose you can go there and read articles too on Pixel Response. The fantastic Oscar prediction one that we were quoting from. You can read the whole thing.
Absolutely.
As well as other stuff.
Matt's doing a great job on the movie stuff. Emily has another thing that I don't want to talk about on air coming out. Her article, the last one about anxiety and depression and using video games as an escape. So we got some great responses from that.
Okay.
Good stuff coming out there. So I mean,
yeah, there's other stuff, other podcasts, you know, all sorts of business.
There's ads for people we like.
For people we like. Top-down perspective is pretty fantastic.
They are the first ad in the ad roll there.
Yeah, man, some of those guys. Oh,
I'm gonna say 1 out of the 3 is good, and he's the one I don't talk to every week.
Oh, burn.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. Anyway.
Great. See you guys.